Anthony, I'm Eleazar. You know what we out here doing today? We out here teaching our people that we are the Israelites according to the Bible, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans.
Right.
And the reason we're at the bottom, because we got to start listening to what God says. And we got to start referencing God for who he is, right? So check a look at this side over here, right? Over here on this side over here, we got what we got called once we got colonialized and enslaved. On this side, we got what the Most High God calls us, right? So if you look at this side of the sign, what would you say your nationality is? Or if I was to ask you what's your nationality, what would you say your nationality is? Hispanic, right? Hispanic means property of Spain or pertaining to Spain. Are you the property of Spain? See, Hispanic is not a good word to call ourselves. That's a word that they gave us in oppression. That's the word that they gave you when they conquered your people and they put them and colonized them. Spain colonized the Mexicans and they called them Hispanic. Now you're the property of Spain because we colonized your people. Right. So that's not a good word to call ourselves, right? Or today we call ourselves
Indians and stuff. That's a made-up name.
Indian is a made-up word, means slave.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you got the Mexican down there, right? That's what you could consider yourself. What you got to start realizing is you are from the tribe of Issachar. You are one of the 12 tribes of Israel, and you from the tribe of Issachar. We got to get back to what God called us, not what the so-called oppressor gave us. Not the so-called, what the oppressor gave us. We got to get back to what God called us, right? So let's get to another issue. Let's see something real quick. So come look at this sign over here. If you was to look at this sign right here, who would you say this is right here?
A made-up God.
A made-up God, right? A made-up God. Who do our people say that is? They say it's God, right? Or Jesus, right? Like if you go to our churches, who do we got? Who people burning candles to? That right there, right? That plagues our community, right? Is that how the Bible says God look? Can we find that in the Bible? Do you know what God said that Jesus Christ looked like? Because a lot of people say nobody knows how Christ looked. Do you believe that?
Supposedly he's a little dark-skinned.
He's a little dark-skinned? All right, we're going to read the scriptures and we're going to see if he's a little dark-skinned or if he look like him or what does Christ look like according to the Bible, right? Give me 1 and 1 real quick, because we're going to get a context of who Revelation 1 is talking about, so there's no confusion. Read.
Revelations 1 and 1. The revelation of Jesus Christ.
So the root word of revelation is what? Do you know what the root word of revelation is? To reveal, right? Revelation is to reveal, right? So this is the revealing of Jesus Christ, right? Read 14.
Revelations 1 and 14. His head and his hairs were white like wool.
It said his head and his hairs were white like wool. Who on planet Earth has woolly hair? Like a sheep's wool. What race of people has woolly hair? Does he have woolly hair? Do his people have woolly hair? What people have woolly hair on this earth? Woolly hair, right? And so this is describing Christ. It said his head and his hairs were white like wool. You know, when you get older, it turns white, right? Read.
His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire.
It said his eyes were as a flame of fire. You know why? What happens when you drink wine? What happens to your eye, the white of your eyes when you drink wine? They turn red, right? Jesus Christ was his first miracle. You turn water to wine, right? And Moses said his eyes were going to be red with wine, right? So that's why it said his eyes were red like fire. So does he have eyes red like fire? What about that one over there? He got the woolly hair and the eyes of fire, right? Let's see, read.
And his feet.
And he said, and his feet. So he's looking down at Christ's feet. He said his feet, what?
Like unto fine brass.
Like unto fine brass. What color is brass? Like the penny is brown, right? A derivative of brown, like you said. He's brown, right? But you say he's a little brown. Let's see how dark the Bible say he is. Read.
As if they burned in a furnace.
So if you take that brass and you burn it, what color is it going to turn? Black. So Christ wasn't a little brown. Christ was dark brown. Christ was a dark brown man with woolly hair and red eyes. Who does that look like today? What people have dark brown skin and woolly hair? African Americans, right? Or that's what they call it, so-called African Americans. But what you're going to realize is that's the so-called blacks, which are the tribe of Judah. Watch, how are we going to prove that? Give me Hebrews 7 and 14. Watch this. Because we just saw Christ described as a black man with woolly hair. Now let's see what tribe he was from. Read.
Hebrews 7 and 14. For it is evident that our Lord sprang out of Judah,
So Christ, which looked like a black man, sprang out of Judah. Letting you know that the black people today, we are the same blood descendants of Jesus Christ. And we are the same people. You might be a little more light-skinned than me, but our ancestors are the same. We go back to the same ancestry. You got different religion and all that, but we still the same people. And we all come from the lineage that Jesus Christ came from. We are the lineage of Jesus Christ. So if you think about it today, when you look on the TNN and all that, and they show you Israel, what color are the people they showing you in Israel? White. Is that how Christ was described? So who are they?
Shalom, Israel. This is Bishop Nathaniel. I want you to know that you can view all our Sabbath classes live on IUIC TV. That's right, I said on IUIC TV. Download the app today. Shalom.
Made up people. Let's see what the Bible called them. Revelation 2 and 9. Let's see what the Bible called them, because if the Jews, like Judah, that's what Jew is, short for Judah, they're calling themselves Jews, but Christ is described as a black man, and he's a Jew. Let's see who's going to be true. Let's see what God called them over there now. Watch this.
Revelations 2 and 9. I know thy works, and tribulation, and poverty, but thou art rich.
He said, I know your works, your tribulation and poverty, because our people, we do a lot of work. We have done a lot of works, but we still in tribulation and poverty. But he said, you're rich. Why are we rich? Because the kingdom of heaven belongs to us. We're going to rule in the kingdom of heaven. So no matter what we're going through right now, we rich because we got the promises if we keep God's commandments. That's the key to it.
And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews.
So the ones over there saying that they're Jews, God said that's blasphemy. That's lies for them to say that they're Jews, right? Let's see who they really are.
And I know the blasphemy which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan.
Hey, who?
But are the synagogue of Satan.
They are the children of Satan. That's the house of Satan over there. But they calling themselves the Jews. They calling themselves me and you. But they the synagogue of Satan, and we the sons of God. But how we living? Are we living like the sons of God? We live like the bottom of the barrel. Why? Because we don't know that we Israel. That's why we out here to show our people, according to the Bible, you're an Israelite. Now we got to live like Israelites. We got to take our heritage back from the synagogue of Satan. That's the biggest attack on us. All the music that's been promoted in our neighborhood, guess who finances it? The synagogue of Satan finances it to keep you at the bottom. Because as long as they can keep you watching twerking videos and all that, you're going to stay at the bottom and they're going to continue to rule over us. But God said what? Give me Revelation, Romans 13:11. But this is what God said for the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to do today. This is what you standing up here, this is what you were called to do today. There's a reason the Most High God brought you right here. So you can learn that you are an Israelite. And it's time to do this. Watch this.
Romans 13 and 11. And that, knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep.
Now it's high time for us to wake out of sleep, out of slumber, out of the American dream. It's time to wake up out of that and get back to what God said to do. Because have the American dream worked for our people? It's been a nightmare. It's been a nightmare for our people. And it's time for us to wake up and realize you're from the tribe of Issachar. You're not a Mexican. You're not a Hispanic. You're not a Latino. You're from the tribe of Issachar, and it's time for us to get back and keep God's commandments. You know what I'm saying? Give me Deuteronomy 10 and 12. Watch this. Let's get to some commandments. Give me 1 Corinthians 11. Watch this. So we're going to get into some commandments. You love God, right? Before you get there, hold that. Give me John 2 and 6. 2 John 6, I'm sorry. Watch this. We're going to show you, according to the Bible, we're going to see if you love God. According to what the Bible says. Because how do you love God? Everybody says they love God, but we don't know how to love God, right? We're going to show you what God said you got to do to show that you love him, right? Watch this.
2 John 6. And this is the love. And this is love, that we walk after his commandments.
So love is doing what? Walking after God's commandments, right? So now let's get to 1 Corinthians 3 and 11. 11 and 3. So now we're going to see if you love God. Let's see if we're going to keep commandments, because the commandments are not hard. It's not hard to keep your commandments. I'm going to show you a real simple one, and we're going to see if you genuinely want to do what God says. Watch this.
1 Corinthians 11 and 3. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ.
So the head of man is Christ, right? Read.
And the head of the woman is the man.
And the head of the woman is the man. So we the head of the women. And we got to get back to that because right now, a lot of our men are not being the head of their household. The woman's running the house. That's out of order. God said the head of man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man. So we supposed to be running the household. But read.
And the head of Christ is God.
And the head of Christ, at the top of all of it is God. So it's God, Christ, man, woman, right? So who's the head of the man? Christ, right? Christ is the head of man, right? Read.
Every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered.
So praying or prophesying means the Bible is coming out, right? Either you're praying or we're prophesying. Because when you're reading this Bible, you're reading the prophecies. So when the prophecies are coming out, that means we're prophesying, right? So it says every man praying or prophesying.
Every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered.
With his head covered, read.
Dishonoreth his head.
Dishonoreth his head. So who's our head again? Christ. So if the Bible is coming out, or if we're praying and we have a hat on or something covering our head, we do what?
Dishonor his head.
We dishonor our head, which is who? Christ. So right now, are we bringing the Bible out? So if your head is covered while the Bible's coming out, you're doing what? You're dishonoring Christ. So right now you have a hat on your head, right? See? You see how easy it is to keep the commandments of God? That's a simple commandment that God gave us, right? Because another commandment God gave us is to grow a beard, not to shave your head. You're doing a great job at that. Right. You keeping the commandments without even knowing it, right? Let me show you another commandment that's easy to keep that our people don't keep. Give me numbers. Let me show you an easy commandment that our people don't keep. You probably already seen it when you walked up. Like, it's something, look at what they wearing makes them different. Well, see what that is. Watch this.
Numbers 15-38. Speak unto the children of Israel.
Notice he always talking to the children of Israel, which is the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Read.
And bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments.
He said make them fringes in the border of their garments. If you look at all my brothers, we all got the fringes hanging down. Not just because it look cool, because bid means command them. So he said speak to the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans and command them to put fringes at the border of their garment. Read.
Throughout their generations.
Throughout their generations. As long as they still having children, they got to keep them fringes on there. So it shouldn't just be us up here. We should look around and see, well, we really shouldn't be seeing nobody up here right now. But the people we do see, they're supposed to have them fringes on the border, right? What else?
And did they put upon the fringe of the borders a ribbon of blue?
And on the fringe, we all got the ribbon of blue. We don't got red or orange or pink. He said blue. It can be different derivatives of blue. It's different shades of blue, but it got to be fringes with the blue border. Read.
And it shall be unto you for a fringe, that you may look upon it and remember all the commandments of the Lord.
And that's the purpose of it. So you can look upon it and remember all the commandments of the Lord. So when a sister walk by in some tight pants, and I'm about to stare and get my eye feel, and I hit my fringes, it's going to remind me, like, man, I can't be doing that. I got to keep the commandments of God. Or it's some money sitting right there on the table. I can slide it in my pocket, and then I'll reach into my pocket, and I'll feel my fringes. I can't do that. I'm an Israelite. I'm about to cheat on my wife. I take my shirt off, grab my fringes, take my shirt off, and it's like, I can't do that. This is a reminder. Why? Because a lot of people say, oh, I don't need the fringes to help me remember the law. God said you need them. God said you need the fringes to remember. God know you better than you know you. So he said, you know what? Y'all going to forget my laws. Put the fringes with the border of blue, and that's going to remind you, hey, you got to keep it.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission, minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold, from Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.